Alright, so, about a week or so ago, I had posted my Q&A prelude for Conan the Barbarian. Now, if you guys want to be part of these Q&A preludes, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, hit the second tier, that'll allow you access to all the videos on my exclusive videos on Patreon, as well as all the polls and whatnot, the first tier. But if you guys want to get, like, Patreon requests and stuff, that's the third tier, that'll allow you access to everything. So yeah, I want to thank everyone who did send in questions for this Q&A, and let's get started. Starting off with Tom Hibbert, who asks, what's the best way to get into Conan? Well, like, a lot of people say, like, the old Robert E. Howard books, which, that makes the most sense, is to start with the old Robert E. Howard novels. The dude created them. I would also say that, like, another good way, and the thing about Conan the Barbarian is that it's really easy to get into the character, because they're really, like, every story is very self-contained. A vast majority of those comics, even like the early Marvel 70s book, I wouldn't suggest, well, the one I wouldn't suggest is like when Conan was part of the modern Marvel books, but even then there were Conan solo titles that you could easily read. So I would suggest the old Robert E. Howard novels, or a lot of the books from, if you can find any of the books from Dark Horse, or even right now from Titan books. They're doing, like, any Conan book, if you could just pick it up and trade, like, literally, there you go. That's how you get into Conan the Barbarian. So it's pretty easy, actually. Second question. If you had to reboot Conan, how would you do it? I wouldn't really do anything different. I would, honest to God, this is one thing where it's like, there's nothing really I could do reboot-wise that wouldn't be like, oh my god, that's so life-changing or whatever. Like, there's really nothing there I could do that would be any different from anybody else. So I wouldn't really need to reboot it. Third question. What would Conan and He-Man think of each other? I think Conan and He-Man, like, I think Conan would be like, like, he would want He-Man's sword, and He-Man would be like, you live up to that barbarian name, sir. And I also think Conan would be like, do you bed those, that Tila woman? Has she been bed before? And he goes, I don't know. And he goes, well, she will be now. and He-Man would just be like, good luck. Anyway, so thank you for those questions, Tom. Moving on now to Hunter Johnson, who asks, how would you do a Steven Universe Conan the Barbarian crossover? Alright, I guess everything pertains to Steven Universe or villainous with Hunter. I guess I would say, like, the best way I would probably do this crossover is not have it like Conan gets thrown to the future or something. This would be probably, like, how I would the best way to do this is because the gems are so old, they probably would have existed in Hyboria. The Hyborian age of man. So maybe have it like Conan encounters the crystal gems after the war between the gems and humankind is over. And meets, like, the early version of the crystal gems. That's the best way I would have it, is that it would be more like the gems in the past meeting Conan and maybe encountering, like, I don't know, Thothamon or something. So there you go. Second question. What if Bellows from the Owl House was a Conan the Barbarian villain? Bellows really does have that kind of Conan the Barbarian villain feel to him. He really does have that kind of dark magic, and also, like, there's, like, some, like, he's just kind of monstrous as well. There's a lot of, like, there's a lot of Conan villainy in him. So I could easily see that. I think honestly he would work as a Conan the Barbarian villain to a great extent. Anyway, so yeah, alright, there you go. And your third question is, what would Conan the Barbarian think of Samurai Jack? I think he would think of Jack as, like, a, worthy fighter and I think he would make fun of his sword, like the katana, and then see Jack in action and be like, you're a fighter I would go into battle with, or something like that. Anyway, so thank you for those questions, Hunter. Moving on now to Chris. What's up, bro? First question. Would would you like to see more of Arnold Conan with another Conan Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan film with him playing King Conan? I would like to see it. I think, yeah, it's the one movie that Arnold has been dying to have for the longest time, really. Like, he has been really wanting to have a Conan the Barbarian film done. So, I would love to see it, but I think Arnold's getting it. But Arnold's finite. Like, he can't, like, a King Conan movie would probably, I think it like, there's a part of me that would love to see it, but there's also another part of me that is like, dude, I think your time as Conan has come and gone. It has, I think he has gotten past the point of raising the sword, if you know what I mean. Sorry, thirsty. So yeah. I would love to see it, but I think the time has passed. That's all I can say. Second question. What was your overall assumption, what was your overall thoughts on Conan returning to Marvel? I thought it was handled pretty well. I thought it was pretty neat to have, like, Conan in the Marvel Universe. Savage Avengers was a good book. There were a few good miniseries, and Jason Aaron's Conan book was pretty well done. But it really just like, there was also a part of me that was like, I feel like they just wanted to have Conan to have the rights just so they can have Conan in the Marvel Universe. And while they did do some good titles with him, it did feel like they underused him outside of, like, Jerry Duggan with his Savage Avengers run. Yeah, it just felt like more like a novelty than anything else by the end of it. Anyway, that's how I really feel. It felt like they could have done more, but the novelty wore off. And your third question, how would you react if they announced a Conan Berserk crossover? I would love to see Conan and Berserk. The two universes are very much alike. I think that there would be a lot of cool moments. Plus, to see, like, Conan fight his way against, like, Zod the Immortal, I think that would be a lot of fun to see. So yeah, I think I would like it. I would like that a lot. Anyway, thank you for those questions, Chris. Moving on now to Gordon Rajani, who asks, who asks, if they made a Conan anime, which studio would you want to be in charge of it? Ooh, interesting. If there was a Conan the Barbarian anime, who would I love to see get in be in charge of that? Well, I would say probably the one I would really like to see have it done by is the same studio behind Attack on Titan. I think that animation style works very well for Conan, and it gets pretty bloody, so yeah, that's my pick. If Conan was in Death Battle, who would you want him to have him fight? Tarzan. It's probably the easiest question I've ever had. Conan versus Tarzan has always been a fight that I've wanted to see, because or the alternative. There is another alternative. I'll get to him in a moment. But the one I really want to see is Conan versus Tarzan, because Conan is a big, strong warrior, but Tarzan is nimble, quick, and the dude has killed like 4 predators in like under an hour. Not even like the best warriors have done that. So yeah, I would that's always one I've always talked about and been like, yeah, I would love to see that. The other one I would like to see, another death battle I would love to see, is Conan take on Spear from Primal. Maybe have Spear and Fang, because Conan could probably take both. So those are my two. Either Conan fighting Tarzan or Conan versus Spear and Fang. Those are the two right there. And your third question is, did you ever watch the 90s cartoon Conan series, Conan the Adventurer? I've rewatched episodes. I've managed to find a few episodes here on YouTube. And yeah, I've seen about like 3 or 4, and I'm like, wow, this is really bad. This is really, oof. This is not great. This is not great. Not great at all. That's all I can say. Let's think of those questions, Gordon. Moving on now to David Deister, who asks, if there was a Conan TV show, who would you want to produce it? like a Conan live action show. Like, I guess, like, Conan the Barbarian, like a Conan live action show. If it was animated, Gennady Tartakovsky, because we all saw Primal Season 2 and went, yeah, that's just Conan the Barbarian animated series. That's the closest, like, Conan, like, Primal Season 2 was, like, the closest any of us would ever get to, like, a Conan animated series, right? But if it was live action, I guess I would say, not the people behind Game of Thrones, that's for sure. I know a lot of people's like, oh yeah, get the people on Game of Thrones, because there's only one fantasy show, and like none of us, and all of us are stupid enough to believe that they could do another good show. Brrr. Anyway. Yeah, that's a tough one. I would probably say George Miller, the creator of the Mad Max series. I just think, like, for some reason, I just feel like that would be a good fit. I don't know. Thank you for that question, David. Second question. What would it be like if a Game of Thrones, Conan the Barbarian, Xena, Warrior, Princess crossover be like? I don't know. I'm not a big Game of Thrones and Xena. It's been a long time since I've seen Xena, so I don't know what to tell you. I really couldn't tell you. Sorry. And third question. Who is your favorite Conan comic writer? I really like Jason Aaron's run. Jim Zub's Conan series at Marvel, and I think he's back on doing that with Titan books. I think he's doing that for Titan books. I like those books. I would also say that a lot of the Dark Horse writers, like John Acurdy and all of them, when the Dark Horse Conan the Barbarian books were really pretty fire as well, so those were all pretty good. So those are just a few. So thank you for those questions, David. Moving on now to Christopher Rosa, who asks, who do you think was the best sidekick for Conan? If we're talking movies, then, Mako. Like, hands down, like, that's the best one. But Conan works best when he's just a wandering warrior with no real, like, character to bounce off of. Yeah. Third question. Who do you think is the best love interest for Conan? Conan needs no love interest. He needs only the lamentations of the women. That's really how it goes. And your final question is, how would you do a crossover between Primal and Conan? I think it wouldn't be that hard because like you just like the world of Conan feels so much like Primal Season 2. So you could easily have like Conan just traveling and hearing about this warrior from across the sea and this huge monster he has with him, and Conan's just like, interesting. And then eventually the two would run into each other, and I feel like Spear and Conan, while they wouldn't have a lot of dialogue between the two of them, I feel like they would definitely have like an understanding of the two. So there you go. Any of those questions, Christopher? Moving on now to Bill McLaughlin, who asks, besides Arnold's Conan, who do you believe was the perfect casting for Conan in any character in any of the movies? Well, considering, the other person was Jason Momoa, yeah. There's really nobody else, right? Like, there's really, literally nobody else you could have, for this, right? So, Jason Momoa, while he's a good actor, he was not a good Conan. I would say, like, if you want to go by video games, Ron Perlman did a great performance in the Conan video game, which, yours truly owns. But yeah. So, second question. How would you do a Conan the Barbarian video game? Well, considering, I just showed that we have a Conan the Barbarian video game, and I think there was another one, but it was a mobile game. Blech. I think what I would do if I was to make a Conan the Barbarian video game, I think I would like to do something along the lines of... excuse me. I probably would do something along the lines of ugh, stupid cough. I would like to do something along the, like, maybe make it like God of War, like give it a God of War feel, and maybe do more of like King Conan, like it's old man Conan, and he's now the king of Aquilonia, and this is his final battle with Thothamon, something like that. And your final question is: given that Robert E. Howard and H.P. Lovecraft were friends in real life, do you do you think they could have gotten a crossover between Conan and Cthulhu mythos, had given the two been given the chance to? Maybe, and you can do a Conan Lovecraft crossover now, because, you know, Lovecraft is public domain for the most part, so you could do that. I wouldn't say that Lovecraft and Howard were friends. It was more like Howard was more of a fan of Lovecraft's work. You can clearly see that with the Tower of the Elephant storyline. But yeah. So, there you go. Anyway, so there you go, guys. That is pretty much my the Conan Q&A. I want to thank everyone who sent in questions, and like I said, if you'd like to be part of the next Q&A, just hit the link below, head on over to head the link below, head on over to my Patreon, hit the second tier, and that'll allow you access to the videos I have over there, and allow you to send in questions for the next Q&A whenever I do it. But other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.